everyone, it's Harry Frankfurt, and I have no makeup on because I needed to make this rather urgently. This is the first episode of my podcast, Arguing on the Internet. Title subject to change, I apologise. Please excuse the lack of makeup. I have a cup of tea here, because we're about to spill some tea. I'm actually interviewing or discussing this topic with a friend of mine. His name is Stacey. Stacey, do you want to introduce yourself?
Oh, what's happened? You're breaking up like 20-year-old marriages.
Shit.
Was that my cue to introduce myself?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm here. And we've had a great day. Well, I've had a great day anyway, so yeah. I'm roped into this either way.
Yep. So it is a great day because we got a chance to have some heated discussions with, well, you know what? I'm not going to say who with. I'm going to go and take it back a step. Let me have a sip of my tea first. Oh, that is some good tea. Okay. So, some of you may know on my YouTube channel, I have a video called Why I'm a Sub, 18 Plus Storytime. Recently, for whatever reason, this video has been getting extra traction lately. And one of the people who commented goes by the name of Anthony. Unfortunately, this comment doesn't exist anymore. Certain people like to have very heated, I guess, opinions. And when they get told a response, sometimes they just can't handle it, so they delete it. But either way, they had commented on a video about being submissive in a sexual context, even though in the video itself, I kind of dance around sexual connotations of being submissive. Stacey, have you seen that video?
No, I haven't. I'm like, where's this video?
So this is where it all began approximately a month ago, possibly longer. But at first glance,
So this is a year-old video.
Yeah, so the video is way
Is
old.
this the 1-year-old video?
Yeah, so it's a 1-year-old video, and it has recently gotten some traction from search, I'm guessing. I mean, I should probably know a little bit better how my videos are doing and why. In the video, I discuss attachment styles, kind of. I don't really talk about anything. It's a terrible video, but it's doing really well lately. And I had a comment from a guy named Anthony, who basically assumed that being submissive meant I liked being beaten up. I think we can all see that I'm not covered in bruises and don't really like being beaten up. I gotta stop drinking this tea because it's gotta last me to the tea bit. This video doesn't mention much at all, doesn't explain anything except that I thought maybe submissive stuff was kind of cool, and that's okay. Like, you do you. Admittedly, I put this stuff on the internet. I'm kind of, in a sense, asking for it, but I hate using that term. This individual commented on that video, and I thought, this is funny, a little bit of hate, and I replied. I can't remember how that conversation went. So, the next time I got a comment from Mr. Anthony, it was on my video, Dear Ex, Leave Me Alone. So this was the second video of mine that he had watched. This video is actually about an ex that is stalking and harassing me to an extent. Long story. Got burps from the tea. I apologize. For anyone who knows the situation about this ex, it's creepy, it's scary, it's unwarranted, and has me concerned. But because Anthony has watched this video directly after watching the Why I'm a Sub 18 Plus Storytime video, Stacey, can you imagine what perhaps that comment would say?
Well, I'm in the 18 plus sub one at the moment, and I'm trying to just get my head around like the way he reacted at what I had said to him. But I'm reading his comment now, like, fuck off to somebody else, fuck off, or I will knock your teeth out. But they didn't like me coming in and saying like the very placid things that I said initially.
Yeah.
And he straight up just turned around and said something to someone like that, and I'm like, oh, okay, so.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen this yet. All I seen was the stuff on that one video that I was into last night.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I didn't realize there was more of it.
Anthony spent quite a lot of time on my channel by the looks of things, and so on my Dear Ex, Leave Me Alone video, the comment, this makes me laugh so much. The comment, actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. Once Anthony showed that he clearly doesn't understand how to listen to people and just likes to start arguments, I decided why not have him on a podcast like this where I can explain to him what submissive means, which I do actually have a screenshot of the definition here. Submissive, adjective, ready to conform to the authority or will of others, meekly obedient or passive. Synonyms, compliant, yielding, malleable, acquiescent, accommodating, amenable, tractable, manageable, unassertive, duteous, docile, lots of things, but not abuse victim. Abuse victim is not another synonym for submissive. And submissive, the actual definition, doesn't really mention anything sexual, which is kind of where Anthony wanted to take this. So when he saw that I said I was a submissive and that it was an 18 plus, he jumped into the whole, you get beaten in sex, that's disgusting, ill, gross, I'm a father of children. And the definition of submissive has nothing to do with any of those things. On the video about my ex, the comment says, yes, leave her alone. You have tied her up, whipped her, pissed on her, and dragged her around like a dog. Don't you dare keep trying to get back with her, you bad, bad boy. I'm not sure if your videos are pure comedy or what. So, given that the definition of submissive is as such, ready to conform to the authority or will of others, meekly obedient or passive, and in my video I explained that the only real dominance that I need is in regards to being looked after. Stacey, can you see where this...
Which is very, very subjective, am I correct?
Yeah.
Like, looked after in the sense that you need somebody to hold your hand to cross the road, or looked after in a...
Like, that's a dominant figure. Like... That is me, you know, hang on, conforming to the authority or will of others. If someone says, hold my hand, that is their will, I will conform to it as a submissive, right? When the fuck did I ever get tied up, whipped, pissed on, or dragged around like a dog?
That's just somebody, that's, I don't know, that's somebody's delusion. Like,
yes,
is this what they've done to somebody, and that's what they...
And that's the kind of stuff that they were commenting on why I'm a submissive. So I wanted to have the podcast with Mr. Anthony. And after this comment, then Mr. Stefan, not sure how you say it, obviously a friend of Anthony's, I think, at this point, says, haha, I've watched a few of her vids, and I do think that she makes it up as she goes along. She is vegan, then she isn't. She is bisex, then she isn't. She is a submissive, blah, blah. I will admit some of my videos
I wish I had seen all of this last night.
Oh, yeah. It gets better and better. Honestly, you know,
I'm reading through it all now, so yeah.
Like I said...
Especially what I've done today, so...
Like I said, Mr. Anthony and Mr. Stefan, whoever, they don't like keeping their comments up for too long. So I've tried to screen grab as much as I could currently, but just note that this is not all that was actually published by these accounts, let's say. These accounts. We'll leave it open because the tea just gets juicier. Anyways, let's read through the rest of this. So after Stephen comments, Anthony replies, yep, don't mind any of that. A gay man saved my life and I went on to save many others. It's just this submissive shit. Who wants to be treated like a dog? And again, I come back to the definition.
This is gold. This is absolutely gold because I did not see any of this stuff from a month ago and the way they reacted, the way that I spoke to them last night after they were basically attacking you for a month. Well, the way I felt, they were attacking you for a month. So
yeah,
I mean, I just rocked up last night.
So, you know, again, he's coming back to this, I get treated like a dog because I'm a submissive, which, I mean, I don't know if I need to make a follow-up video on all of that. I can if you guys want me to. Stephen asks Anthony, how did a gay man save you? Was he a doctor? And it's funny because Stephen somehow knew.
I'm struggling with this right now.
The funny thing is, Stephen...
I wish I had have seen this, honestly. I wish. This is more of a surprise than everything.
Stephen was actually right. Anthony, he was a medic in the military and a very brave man. You have to be strong to be gay when you're HM forces. I, for one, would bully the fuck out of him. Oh, he's really a good guy. Did I not mention that? But that was the way in the 80s. Get rid of dead wood. He proved to be neither. And after he saved my life, he did it for many others in a long career. Blah, blah, blah. Stephen Hunt. Wow! I know all about the SBS.
Hold up for a sec. Hold up. You totally should have got the Vine story guy to read this. It would have been story time.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Continue. I'm sorry. I keep cutting in and I shouldn't be. I'm being so very rude.
No, that's fine.
Can't help myself.
So Stephen is absolutely amazed at the fact that Anthony is in the Special Forces, and he continues, they train with other loonies. I was in the Welsh Guards myself 4 years back from 95 to 99. That's not 4 years ago. I didn't even notice that. These guys are really smart. I should just put that out there.
Fuck.
Them's paras ain't cream buns leather.
He does have trouble though because he has a small phone, doesn't he?
He's also just a bus driver, I've heard. He's told me on another occasion that he's a bus driver and that my intelligence intimidates him, which is, this story just goes for days and days.
When he said the small phone thing, I just imagined like one of those old little LG flip phone things or something with a little like 1-inch screen.
With like
or even like a Nokia, like a 31.
Yeah.
You know, like a 31 version or something. I couldn't get my head around it.
Anyway, Stephen's very thankful for the fact that Anthony is replying to him, you know, as you would be when a stranger replies. You say, thank you for the info and the replies. I have nothing but great respect for all your ex and serving soldiers. They are the best in the world, bar none. Anthony, I have some knowledge of the Irish and Welsh Guards. How can we forget Rook's Drift, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, moving on. So now it was at this time that I chimed into the conversation in response to them saying me being a submissive was me getting treated like a dog. And I said, I love how being submissive automatically means kink in your mind. This was my first boyfriend from when I was 14 to 15 years old. Because this was my first boyfriend from when I was 14 to 15 years old, and in fact I didn't even know I was a submissive back then. I was only just learning how to fuck. And Anthony is shocked at this stage. And he just says, so he didn't drag you around like a dog and give you the odd slap? No, actually, no. Anthony also said, hairy ass, if you are so convinced that this shit is normal, then why 190 views? Because people aren't interested in pissing on each other and freaky shit.
Well, we're up to 226. I'm at the video now, so it's going up.
Well, I mean, the views aren't really the point here. The fact that he's saying that me telling my ex to leave me alone has something to do with me apparently being interested in being pissed on, which is because I said that I was submissive. I'm missing a few logical jumps here, but this guy must be thin from the amount of calories he burns jumping to conclusions.
Somebody in this conversation stream likes being pissed on, and I don't think it's you.
It's not. Just so everyone's clear, I don't like being pissed on. Thank you for the offer, but not for me. And then I asked him, where are you getting these insane extremist ideas? If you watch the video, where do I ever mention being pissed on? As for normality, please explain. Because normal is not a term that people can really use. They can use like standard, like average and, you know, most common, but I don't know, what is this normality people speak of, Stacey?
I'm the most non-conforming person that you would ever come across, so normality is not something that I am familiar with. I mean, you know me, nobody else does, but I guess they're looking at my face and I look like a normal sort of human.
But what does normal even mean? This is where I'm confused, because normal could be entirely unhealthy as well. Like, if everyone's jumping off a cliff, does that make it normal? Sure. Does that make it healthy?
I'm a normal shape.
No.
I'm a normal size, a normal shape. I have normal, speech patterns. I have I don't know, I have normal things like in life. Like I have a fan beside me that blows cold air at me. I have a car that I can drive to the shops. I have lights. I have a computer. You know, normal things. I have normal things, but
I just don't get where this normal comes from.
Normal person.
Like,
I guess these are things.
Let's actually Google the definition of normal. Define normal.
Right, yes, definitely. This is something that I should be doing. Or you.
Normal. Conforming to a standard, usual, typical, or expected. The usual, typical, or expected state or condition. a line at right which angles... Okay, well, that's like technical. We ain't about that. So I just...
And then I will check the Urban Dictionary because,
Fair.
you know, you've got people like normies and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Here's a good one. An idealistic state of being that remains as such, because the idea of such a state varies from being to being, and any set standard is nonetheless someone else's idea of what it is. This condition warrants satisfactory confirmation of being amongst the confirmed members of such class by the individual's code. Well, I mean,
I think that's great.
Is not a very normal paragraph.
I think that's pretty great, though. Like, normal...
A tool for conformity. There it is. Perfect. A tool for conformity. Well, I'm non-conformist, so...
Yeah.
I mean, that throws me right over, you know, over the edge of the boat, or under the bus, or whatever the normal thing to say is.
And I will just add Matt's definition here, which is... Sorry, Matt is a viewer on my Twitch stream. I'm streaming the podcast live. Matt says, normal equals what is going on in this guy's life, or how he thinks life should be. And this is where I kind of get a little concerned when people are projecting their ideals onto me based on their personal view of what something means. So submissive, as I said, is simply conforming to another person's authority. Yeah, conforming to the authority or will of others. That's the definition of it. And he has got this...
I really love what Matt said. That's great.
I'm really glad you brought that up, Matt, because it is based entirely on his perception and his perspective and what he believes to be correct. Which, I mean, I can get on my high horse and rant about the church for the next 30 minutes, but I think we'll just continue with the story, because I really think that the church's idea of normal is what ruins a lot of things. Anyways, after I asked Anthony what normal or normality is, he said, as if this were gospel, you either are submissive and have a master or not, and you're telling me having a master is normal, and being pissed on means being abused. Again, we're making some connections here that
so there isn't a loss of, what do they call it? Like a loss of translation or a cultural difference, like being pissed on. Does that mean like, you know, like being mistreated or something? Like I don't know. You know, there was a lot of cultural differences in terms that were being thrown around.
That's fair.
That I noticed, and pissed on could be like, you know, like some people say, pissing in the wind, or
that's true. Yeah. So I mean, it could be, you know, it could be a colloquial term that is being misinterpreted literally, but the problem here is that. Well, yeah. The other thing is.
It reads like. I thought I read somewhere urinated, or urine. So I mean, piss as in the sense of the word, I think is you know, it can't be misconstrued, because I thought I read somewhere urinate on. So that
the other
makes
thing
it
is
very solid.
Yeah.
What they're actually trying to sort of.
Yeah, like they're
being pissed on.
They're confirming that, you know, they're talking about it literally. But the other thing that bothers me is that it goes from you either are submissive and have a master or not. Meaning it's very black and white thinking. So I'm either a submissive and have a master, which, by the way, you can be submissive and single, by the way. Just putting that right on out there. Hi, Single Ladies Club. Or you can be submissive and in a relationship where you don't feel like you trust the person enough to do those things, or you don't want to. And then his follow-up comment to that is, having a master and being abused is normal, which I think was him projecting that was what I was saying, which is not what I'm saying. Because submission and abuse are not the same. So he doesn't understand that submissive is not a victim of abuse, and he's assuming that I get pissed on and treated like a dog, and I'm 87% sure that this is literal sense of the term. Matt suggests that he may be saying all dom sub stuff is abnormal, but if you look at the answer to the definition of submissive, his children would be submissive to him. So that is pretty normal. As far as I'm concerned, again, normal, whatever the hell that means.
Like a pet.
Yeah, Like,
a pet is submissive, you know. You tell a pet and they come to you, and then, you know, you put your hand and they roll over and give you belly and stuff to pat.
Exactly.
That's submissive.
It's not abuse.
It's not sexual. Like, they are definitely submissive to me. They roll over and let me pat their bellies, like all of them.
Yeah. This conversation continues. I said being submissive and single is also an option. Being a submissive but not in a dom-sub relationship is also an option. Being a sub and having a dom where you don't get pissed on is also an option. It's like ice cream. Chocolate might be your favorite flavor, but that doesn't stop me from ordering strawberry every so often. And then Anthony wants to tell me, basically, you haven't got a clue what you want or what you are. Like someone else said, you're making it up as you go along. Do your parents know about all this shit? Guys, hang on.
Want to know?
I just gotta call my dad and tell him I'm a submissive. like,
hey,
just letting you know. You know, I like being told what to do sometimes.
There's only certain things I tell my parents, and well, I don't normally talk to about any relationship type stuff.
No.
Like how I'm going, what I've been doing, that sort of thing. Oh, and by the way, you know,
I get whipped.
I get whipped.
Look, apparently I haven't got a clue though, so I shouldn't really talk on the topic of my own sexuality.
Yep.
Stacey, you don't know about your preferences. And then he says that I'm lying through my fucking teeth. But he can't speak for everyone, but he thinks I'm making shit up for clicks. At best you're a 4, and all this submissive shit a 3. You're just not that attractive, so take your head out of your ass and tell the truth. But the beautiful thing about this is, if I was telling a lie, I would probably tell one that people would like to hear. Stacey, when do you ever make up a lie about yourself where you end up being less attractive because of it?
Well, I think at this point too, where he's just gone, where he said you're not that attractive, so take your head out your ass and tell the truth. I mean, if up until this point you had said, "Oh, Anthony, I think you're a really great person. Maybe we should meet," or something like that, there's no way, shape, or form he would have got to that point where he said you're just not that attractive. And I've never seen him spell "your" correctly. So
I haven't seen him spell a lot of words correctly.
I know I've seen internet comments, but that makes me so angry. You are. If you can't spell "you," or just put "you are," just not that attractive.
Yeah. And then our
these are English
friend,
people too. Like,
yeah,
these are English people. This is where the language originated.
And then our dear friend Stephen chimes in, because in my submissive video, I briefly mentioned that I think it has something to do with, childhood abuse, which is loosely kind of, true. So Stephen chimes in, what shit are you blaming this crap on? You have never walked in the shoes of someone like me. I was in the military and witnessed all types of mayhem. Anthony was in a lot longer than me. Trust me, he's seen and done a lot more. Ye both of us, I don't really know what that's trying to say. Blah, 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 blah. Please explain these massive problems you have. And, again, apparently I have problems here. So, there's that.
So when did it become, you never took a life? No. Well, I have. And, okay, this is brilliant, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have, and I know Anthony has, so please explain these massive problems you have. So, what? Okay.
Yeah.
When did it turn into their video and their life story?
Yeah.
Their problems and mishaps and... I mean, you signed up for it. Or, I mean, they signed up for it if they, did so happen to have signed up for it. That's what you get.
Yeah. So that's all of that. And then in a video recently, we have a conversation with Anthony. Allow me to pull it
just
up.
Adding to this whole thing, too, where they're talking about, have you ever taken a life and blah, 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 and, I don't know. It's a big problem. There was another conversation I got involved in the other day, and they were talking about these school shootings. And I said, well, how about we talk about shootings in general? How about not shootings? How about just people that are killed in general? I said, let's just, start counting up people who are killed in general, regardless of, people who are being shot and stuff like that. And I said, I mean, you're trying to blame it on the people or whatnot. I said, there isn't a country on this planet that doesn't have people who they are training to go and kill people.
Mm.
And they say like, oh, video games cause people to harm, or TV cause people to harm. I'm like, the governments of every country in the world train citizens they pull from the street to kill people.
Yeah.
They do it. That's
yeah.
So I mean, these guys are having a good cry about how they've been put into war. That's what they signed up for.
Mm. And this was in a conversation.
I sidetracked the whole thing.
No, I'm glad you brought that up, because this was actually in a conversation I had with one of the two accounts, and I use that term very loosely, and you'll soon find out why, about how they thought that I think it was Stephen that assumed that being submissive meant daddy dom, little girl or baby girl role play. This role play is indeed a type of submission, but again, submission is just taking orders from another person or conforming to the authority of another. It's got nothing to do with daddy dom little girl. So in the conversation of me apparently being a daddy, like a little girl in a DDLG role play with a boyfriend that they think that I have, just lots of leaps and bounds being made here. But let's bring it back. They had made the assumption once again that daddy dom little girl led to pedophilia or something to that effect, and that if I were to pretend to be a little girl in a sexual context, that the man would then unequivocally start having sex with little girls. And this was directly after I had done a lot of note-taking on the different kinds of research a person can do. And I basically said there is no way that that is a cause and effect relationship. If anything, I highly doubt that it's even correlated. And he had no idea.
I'm sorry, if you're going to attack like just, like a normal person for doing certain things like that, you need to go and attack maybe like Hollywood. For portraying it so often in films and stuff like that throughout history. That's a bigger issue. If that's a problem, then that's a bigger issue, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem to be.
So Stephen Hunt, you're promoting pedophilia if you do practice DDLG, as how long before he wants the real thing? He was also mentioning and you're happy to discuss BDSM in front of your family and friends. I'm gonna read this all from the beginning. So on a video, so this has all been deleted. Thank fuck I have screenshots of it. But in one of my videos called, let me find it, Dear Diary, That's Adorable, where I discuss a relationship that I've had. It's me reading my diary, basically. In a video where I'm reading my diary, I get a comment from Steven saying, "Hey, hairy ass, seems you're manic depressive as well." And by this point, I was like, well, that's hilarious. Oh, wow, you're a psychologist? Because I know he's not. And I love these like sweeping generalizations and all kinds of things, like just prescribing or diagnosing me as manic depressive. And he goes, well, no, I'm not, but I will list your life traits. A small-titted, manic depressive, BDSM, DDLG, freaky sex case with a bad back, shitty fella, liar, vegan who eats McDonald's and fails to get views on YouTube. You were also disrespectful. I am too. So, I'm glad he told me this, because...
So much.
I really didn't know myself before this, and I'm glad that he told me, because now I know. So I said, if I didn't have you, I wouldn't know who I am. Thanks for letting me know. And you're happy with the way you are? And I asked him, well, I mean, you know me better than I do, so I should ask, should I be happy with the way I am? And at this stage, he backpedals hardcore and says, yes, you're very pretty. Hang on. I'm a small-titted, manic-depressive, BDSM, DDLG, freaky sex case with a bad back, shitty fella, liar vegan who eats McDonald's and fails to get views on YouTube, and also disrespectful. But I'm pretty.
So this is Stefan, right?
This is
not
Stefan.
Anthony now, who said you weren't attractive. Okay, yeah. So we're on to Stefan now.
And there was another comment somewhere. There's comments everywhere, and I'm going to leave all of them in this video.
So Stefan thinks you're attractive or pretty, but Anthony no longer finds you attractive.
Anyways, I thanked him for the compliment, even though I don't really agree with compliments based on image, because image can change. So what's with all this other crap? And I wasn't sure, and he reminded me the DDLG, submissive, depressive, unstable crap. I just kind of asked, what about them? And he goes, why, if it's your personal life, do you stick it all over YouTube? I'm talking about the sex part. I said, because there's no reason to be ashamed of it, because there's nothing important about it, and it's interesting to me, and I like discussing it. And you're happy to discuss BDSM in front of your family and friends. You're promoting pedophilia if you do practice DDLG, as how long before he wants the real thing? So, I explained that I'm happy to discuss the bizarre intricacies of human behavior with anyone and everyone. As for DDLG leading to pedophilia, that's about as big of a leap as video games leading to gun violence. Let's discuss this one for a little bit.
Yeah, and I can absolutely chime in on this because firstly, I spend time on Instagram as a photographer. As you can see by my picture, somebody said that it was a nice picture. I take photos, and I've taken photos of Kate as well. That's why we're friends. Kate's profile pictures are mostly mine, I think. All of them, I noticed. That one, the one on Discord. I don't know what's on Twitch at the moment. No, I haven't taken that.
That was a
phone selfie.
iPhone, yeah.
What was I saying? Yeah, so I take pictures of models, dancers, ballerinas, young and old. And I actively have an interest in gymnastics and dance. I'm a flexible person. I've been involved I couldn't be a gymnast because where I grew up was not very suitable for males to be into gymnastics. So it was skateboarding and martial arts and parkour and breakdancing, but I was flexible and I still am. And I'm 40 now and I can still do a back arch and whatnot. So I haven't given it up, but I love it. Like I've seen somebody do a slide across a floor on point and then just drop to the splits, and I was like, this is great. Like that's awesome. So I follow it and I look at it and I'm chasing predators from Instagram all the time that are calling 11-year-old children sexy because they're in dancewear or modeling for clothes or something like that. And these are people that don't look like they want to be with an adult. They look like they just want to be with a child, or they're calling children sexy. And I don't like that at all. So I actively try to get them blocked by IP because it's difficult for them to get back again. They basically have to get a new phone or device to get back in because, they're too stupid to master IPs and things like that. So they get blocked and they're gone. So there's that. And also the fact with the video games and the gun violence, I don't know. I played shoot 'em up video games and I've never to go out and kill people. So that doesn't happen. And I also play racing car games and I don't have any traffic violations or anything like that for race driving or speeding or crashing or anything like that. So it's not a criminal history, is it? It's a non-criminal history. So all of that, nothing's nothing leads to anything. People are people. So if a person is capable of committing a crime, then a person is capable of committing a crime. There's nothing that can really cause it, I don't think. They're just wired that way. That's how I feel.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing here is that sexual fantasy is different to real life acting it out. It's so contextually based. The Daddy Dom Little Girl roleplay scenario could be caused by a lot of things. If the man comes and says, I'm into little children, can you dress up like you're in school? Then yeah, he's probably a pedophile. But if he's enacting that in a safe manner, in a controlled environment with two consenting adults so that he doesn't have sex with kids, I feel like that's a pretty good controlled environment. And I feel like that's a very good, maybe not very, but it is a preventative measure. I'm basing that on my own opinion, as are these individuals, or this account, Stephen Hunt, is basing his Daddy Dom Little Girl roleplay leads to pedophilia. He's basing that on his assumptions. So
the fact that an adult can't take a step backwards and become a naive child. That's physically impossible. So it's impossible for somebody to say, dress up like a child, act like a child, become a child that hasn't grown mentally
let's
enough
undo
to
puberty.
understand what's happening.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason why there's, say, you can't interfere with underage children because they are mentally not,
there's
level.
no consent being given because they are a child and they can't actually conceive consent. Exactly. So I basically likened the idea of DDLG leading to pedophilia as gun games leading to gun violence. And I personally have run over people in Grand Theft Auto. I have shot people in many video games. I have locked people in rooms until they died in video games, and yet here I am, not a criminal.
The Sims?
Yeah, The Sims. I've been doing it since I was a child, even, like a very young child.
I used to pile the dishes up on an island in the pool, and then make the maid go over there and collect the dishes, but then trap her on the little island, take the ladder away, and then she would stay there and perish.
And so the idea that I'm getting at here, or the assumption or the prediction that I'm making is that, I'm just likening the assumptions to each other. That's a cause and effect relationship, which it isn't. And then we end up in a discussion about the lack of causality between video games and violence and, DDLG and pedophilia. But Anthony chimes in saying that I admit my sexual preferences are bizarre, which I wasn't. I was admitting that I like to discuss the bizarre intricacies of human behavior. So he's misunderstanding me once again. Steven says, how so? I have normal sex life. I am not married, but I do share... What? I do my share. I don't understand why this is not enough for any man. A spank of the old bottom is as far as I'll go. It's all like, it's leaps and bounds and, I have normal sex, why can't
there's
you?
It's probably a cultural misunderstanding too, but I think the word spank, I don't find that to be appropriate. Like, I would slap an ass, but I probably wouldn't spank somebody.
Yeah, that's true. That is interesting, and it may just be like a cultural difference because this account claims to be from Britain or Wales or one of the two, one of that English section. I'm geographically handicapped, if you will. Anyways, that was that conversation, and there's been lots of conversations with this person or these people, but it wasn't until you chimed in, Stacey, that we actually had a lovely lady by the name of Jane who decided that she was concerned about the people.
Jane Earl, it's such an English name.
Jane Earl was concerned about me. She seemed really lovely. And she said, I see you have two men vying for your affections. Stephen Hunt seems okay, but a little strange, and Stacey Kenyon sounds like a stage or grade 2 clinger. Watch out, he is the one who will end up on the register. Keep him out of your apartment. Men? Question mark? Not sure what that last part...
Like men, huh?
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Like men.
I don't know. Again, we got some typos in there, and for some reason... this account also likes to capitalize names of people. And then Anthony apparently knows Jane Earl or something, not too sure, because he says, hey Jane, the cheeky twat, referring to Stacey, called me a nonce, and he is stalking hairy ass in her apartment, pretending to help her move whilst sniffing her knickers behind her back. You were so right about Stacey Kenyon. And worse still, she has his back. Just fuck them both off. I have. And again, we're jumping from the Stacey helped me move to Stacey sniffs my underwear behind my back. And then Stephen chimes in as well, because I said Stacey was
didn't think you wore underwear, so I mean...
You've just been looking for it.
To sniff.
Anyways, I said that I know Stacey personally and that he's a good friend of mine, and Stephen chimes in, that is your problem, goodbye! And then also, it wasn't a very solid goodbye, because he comes back and says, hey Jane, yes, I am a little strange, but I'm not as bad as Stacey in Frankfurt, so I'm off, good luck. And there's probably been more comments from him since I got these. But are we ready? Has everyone got their tea? I've finished my tea, but I'm going to sip this tea. Now, Stacey has been helping me out.
Last comment from Stephen was 40 minutes ago to me. Stacey Kenyon, you do know that Harry is into BDSM, don't you? Is this your ace card as well, Mr. Leather Pamps?
Yeah.
Pamps?
Yeah, so, I mean...
What's the fat fingers? Fat fingers.
Look, whatever it is, once again, we come back...
Well, he's calling me my name now. Before he was calling me Casey and trying to really, like, mess up my name like he didn't know who I was.
Yeah. I mean, it's similar to the way that I'm hairy ass or, you know, Frankfurt or... And I'm fine with that. Like, I really just thought that this was some fuckwits on the internet being trolls.
Yeah.
But the fact that Anthony has all these friends is really interesting, and they all kind of type in a similar way, and they all kind of talk about the same stuff, and they jump from, you know, a fact to an assumption. For instance, you know, hairy ass is into BDSM, so Stacey, that must be what you like too, and you must wear leather pants. That was a massive assumption.
Yeah, do I look like I wear leather pants? I've got a hat on and a hoodie.
Yeah. So we got all of this, and Stacey, you did a little bit of a, how do I put it? A little bit of a dig, didn't you?
Background check.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. We did a little bit of a quick background check.
Well, I was sent on a lot of Googling missions because they were like, oh, do you know what the Welsh Guard is? Do you know what SBS is? And I said, well, SBS over here is a television station. And I looked it up, and I didn't mean to insult. Like, I knew people simply don't brag about their service when they're put on the spot and try to use it to put fear back into people. Like, oh, don't talk to me like shit. I served. Have some respect. I was like, okay, have some respect. Sorry, what's SBS? Oh, Special Boat Service. And I said, oh, where I'm from, anything that starts with special generally means, you know, somebody that needs a little extra help through the day, like, you know, help being fed, maybe reminders to go to the bathroom so they don't have accidents, things like that. Special, you know, special things.
Special case.
They didn't really like the way that I kind of, you know, just treated them. But I wouldn't have if I felt they were honestly ex-servicemen that had served and seen the things that they pretend to have seen, but absolutely not. I know people that have served and seen so many bad things, and more people I know this than people they know. They just don't talk about it. They don't tell people. They don't bring it up when confronted with something. They don't say, hey, I was in a war. I seen people get shot in the face.
I got shot in the leg straight through, so my memory is bad. That was another thing. Apparently his memory is affected by being shot in the leg. I don't know what part of your memory is stored in the leg. But apparently being shot in the leg ruins your memory. I mean, maybe it's the PTSD, that I would kind of understand, but, I mean, anyways, we got this 1 or 2 or 3 or no people that are commenting and saying that they've all been in similar situations with special services in the military and getting shot, and they're good friends. Stephen loves Anthony, and Anthony is, I don't know. And after a quick little bit of, what did you use, the, Google...
Oh, well, Google Detective.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just tracked their IP through YouTube.
And
found out, well, these guys don't, or where did he say he was from? One was from Liverpool, one was from Bristol, and Jane Earl didn't actually say where she's from, but they all share the same IP address. So they didn't say that they shared ours, and they're all sharing the same computer or anything like that. They're all from different areas. They all had the same IP address. I pulled it. He was smart. I tracked it back to US, I believe. So he's smart enough to try and bounce his IP off. but all three of the accounts used the same IP address, so I got a 216.58.201.10.443 from Stephen Hunt, same from Jane, and same from Anthony. So they all have the same IP address. I kind of suspected straight up that Anthony and Stephen had the same IP. So I just, as soon as Jane came on today and started attacking me and saying these weird things like she didn't kind of look into it and just straight up stuck up for these guys, disregarded the fact that I knew Kate and you know, all these things, and she was saying, I'll keep him out of your apartment and stuff like that. I don't go to Kate's apartment. Like, I helped her move, and I haven't been back since. You know, Kate invites me over. Like, she invites me over. Come over. I'm like,
I have so much food that I need to cook and no one to cook it for. So, like, honestly, come over.
I might spank you or something.
Yeah. Wear those leather pants and piss on me.
Get on the register. I don't want to be on the register.
We'll put you on the register, chain me up, whip me, piss on me, treat me like a dog.
Blast with you in my car and shoot people in front of you.
Actually, we got to do that. I need to find someone to lock in a room and kill, because like this is just this is what has happened.
The door handle.
Yeah, I'll just take the door away. So, Luca, you can, Ibble Wobble, this is sad, and it is sad, because this person is not only catfishing, which in Australia is illegal, so if it turns out that this is an Australian person, they're breaking the law by pretending to be someone else, but they are pretending to be multiple people talking to each other and pretending to be different people so that they can...
And not only two men that served in two different regiments, but two different countries' regiments, and then also a woman that kind of reminds me of, I don't know, someone that wrote literature in the 1900s, like Jane Austen or something like that.
Yeah. See, the name Earl just reminds me of Earl Grey, the tea.
Oh, yeah.
And we just spilled the tea.
It must have been like, probably looked at the bookshelf, seen a Jane Austen book, and was having a cup of tea and went, oh, Jane Earl, okay, my new account is Jane Earl.
Yeah, and Stephen Hunt would have been a similar situation, and Anthony doesn't have a last name, so I should have known that he was obviously the most real of them all.
He has a very, very sexy, shirtless, blurry photo, which is the sole reason why I call him a nonce. Like, I see like an adult male on a social media platform with a blurry shirtless photo. I just feel like they're
the other thing is children. On one of my fitness videos, Anthony was trying to tell me to do his regimen because he obviously didn't realize that I know fitness, and he had gone on this mad rant about how he knows fitness better than I do and how walking is the best exercise, totally disregarding the fact that I am a personal trainer who has learned how to train other people and then continued my qualifications by studying under people, by working under people, by expanding my knowledge in multiple different things. And in his comments, he was saying that he knows exercise. And Stephen was saying that I should check out his Facebook profile because Stephen was saying that he was attractive. And so he's complimenting himself, or this person is complimenting themselves on different accounts. It just, the whole thing.
The Stephen Hunt that I found was very... I don't know how to describe people, but it was the same one that I thought I found that looked like some sort of fake profile, and I was like, that can't be him. That looks like a very aggressive sort of person.
Yeah, and I mean, it's hilarious because this podcast is episode 1, and this podcast was meant to be had with Anthony. And funny enough, Anthony's schedule and my schedule just haven't lined up, and I'm very glad because Anthony has had to create multiple different characters to put into the mix to make this story what it is today. And most
recently Jane Earl.
Yeah.
The guys couldn't shut me down, so they sent in a woman.
Yeah.
They sent in a female to try and attack me to see how I would respond to that. And
it also kind of felt like...
I responded very politely, I responded very politely to her.
Yeah, and I think also that
told her that
the female angle was almost to kind of appeal to me as a female, because it was like Harry Frankfurt should be, you know, concerned because there are these two men vying for her attention. It's like it felt more like a different tactic to get my attention or to change the topic or something. I really don't understand. But then also the woman was going on Stephen's side, just like Stephen had gone on Anthony's side, and it was this really weird. Like, I can't wait to see. You know, I'm gonna leave this podcast. I'm gonna put it up on YouTube, and I'm not going to tell them that it's about them. I mean, they know it's about them if they watch it. But as soon as they comment, it's going to be amazing, because I don't know how many
who's going
other
to comment first.
I think we might even end up with you know. I don't know, new accounts. I was going to make them up as I could, but couldn't think of any names to make up. Yeah, we might get a Mike Hunt, you know, Stephen Hunt's son or father or something. We might get, all kinds of things. It's just, it's so...
James Earl or something.
James Earl, yeah, Jane's husband. He'll get in on it. So, this has been episode 1 of Arguing on the Internet. And I have read through the arguments, and I'm going to leave it up to the internet to tell me who has won. Internet, let me know. If you're watching this on YouTube, let me know in the comments. If you're watching this on Twitch, let me know right now. That has been episode 1. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe. Stacey, who do you think won the internet?
Oh, thanks. Just thanks so much for having me. I mean, I don't want to toot my horn, but I don't lose anything on the internet.
Yeah, honestly.
I'm all in to win. Like, I'm all in to win.
I'm in it to win it, for sure. I think that was a great one.
I exposed them, you know.
The tea has been spilled.
I didn't realize this had been going on for so long, and, you know, it took me, like, last night to figure it out, so... That's, you know, they had nothing. They really had.
I really enjoyed.
I had nothing, but there was nothing really to, you know, to say. But they tried to shut me down every which way, and I don't know.
The funniest part was
quite easy to just hand it to them.
Yeah, and the funniest part was that they were consistently trying to tear me down on my character and my personal preferences without actually knowing what my personal preferences really are. And then when I served them up with cold, hard science, they really didn't like that. And just the fact that they couldn't appreciate the fact that I'm just plain old smarter than them. But again, I'll leave it up to the internet.
Like I said earlier too, right? And that's what I said. Like, I thought you were doing just fine, you know? You were just waving them on, just a little slight hand gesture, like, shoo, next. But it didn't seem to get through, so I just thought, oh, I'm back, you know, I'm going to have a crack at this. Oh, I had some spare time and nothing else to do.
Yeah. Well, that has been episode 1. Like I said, make sure you subscribe for more. And if you want to start an internet war, do it in the comments. And thanks for coming along, Anthony and Stephen and Jane and Stacey. Stacey's actually a real person.
Thanks.
We know that much. So... Yep.
Yeah, with one IP address.
Yeah.
And one full name.
Yeah.
You can look me up. You won't be able to find much. I don't really put myself out there because of all my shenanigans I do on the internet. But we've got government agencies tracking down things because I'm just a menace.
Yeah.
Worldwide menace. Thanks, Kate.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming along. It's been great having you, and I hope you enjoyed episode 1.